Matthew Stafford, career losing record. Matthew Stafford, no All-Pros, Shady. You know you talk about people who ain't got no All-Pros. 16 years in the league, no All-Pros. Not first team nor second team. Matthew Stafford, only 2 Pro Bowls. Matthew Stafford, no Super Bowl MVP.
Right now, Matthew Stafford is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. This isn't a Hall of Fame resume.
And then he wins a Super Bowl with essentially one good drive, and now all of a sudden we're putting a gold jacket on him. I thought that was strange.
It's funny how people are so hesitant to crown Matthew Stafford as one of the all-time great quarterbacks. And it had us thinking how unappreciated Matthew Stafford really is. And in this video, we're going to give you guys context on why he's one of the great all-time quarterbacks in this league. This is the understated greatness of Matthew Stafford. And before we get into the video, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel. We do breakdown videos like this, film breakdowns, and we also have a podcast where we also talk football. And with draft season right around the corner, it's a perfect time to turn on those post notifications so you get an alert anytime we drop a video. Now, let's get into it. Matthew Stafford is the last of a dying breed. He's one of 2 players still active in the 2009 NFL Draft. In case you guys don't know, let me explain the process of landing the first overall pick in the NFL. You have to suck. Like, really suck. And boy, did the 2008 Lions suck that year. I mean, this clip alone explains the 2008 Detroit Lions. In fact, they were the first team ever to go 0-16. And the reward for doing the impossible was this beautiful baby-faced chubby cheek quarterback who had an absolute rocket for an arm. Back in the 2000s, it was all about bringing the rookie QB slowly up to speed, allowing them to make mistakes, learn your offense. Many of the rookie QBs from that time didn't come into the NFL lighting up the league. Take this last season, for example. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, both led their teams to the playoffs. Both rookies. Just to put it in perspective, think about the year that Caleb Williams just had and how he was talked about. And his stats weren't even that bad. Now imagine if he threw 20 interceptions this year. That's how much higher the expectations are for rookies nowadays. And I wouldn't say that the QBs are necessarily better now. I would lean more that the organizations have just completely changed their mindset of handling a young QB. It's not just about getting the QB high in the draft. It's about hiring that young offensive-minded QB whisperer for a head coach. Here's a graphic showing recent first-round QBs and who the teams hired as their head coach. Now you look at today's NFL, the majority of them are offensive coaches. And here's a graphic that shows rookie QBs from the late 2000s and who their head coaches were. Look how many defensive-minded coaches had rookie quarterbacks in the late 2000s. The philosophy is just completely different now. The new school coaches have their system, but also tailor it to help the rookie QBs. Back in Stafford's day, it was more about making the quarterback fit the scheme. Basically, let's fit a square peg into a round hole, even if the rookie struggles. It was more about the rookie having to figure it out, rather than to adjust the system to help make life easier for the rookie. Stafford didn't have many good games as a rookie, but there was one game against the Cleveland Browns. And I'm telling you, this game gave the Detroit fans something to hope for. To make things quick, the Lions are down 24-3 in the first quarter, but Stafford is able to close the gap. But with 8 seconds to go and no timeouts, the Lions need a small miracle. Stafford is going to be dancing around before throwing a prayer to anyone he finds in the end zone. But when he throws the ball, he gets leveled. If this hit was put on Patrick Mahomes in today's NFL, somebody going to jail. Injured and all, the next play, Stafford goes in, throws the game-winning touchdown. The hit was so hard on this play, Stafford separated his left shoulder. But Stafford didn't care. He had his greatest moment as a rookie. And this was just a glimpse on what we're going to see from him as far as having that clutch gene and that rare toughness that Stafford has displayed throughout his NFL career. His rookie year will end shortly after this game, after he suffered a knee injury that would cost him the last 4 games of the year. Stafford's rookie and sophomore year were just all about the injuries. He had only played 13 out of 32 games throughout his first 2 seasons. Stafford quickly changed that narrative with clocking in 8 straight seasons without missing a single game. But we know, his time with the Lions, it was highlighted by all the losing. His record with the Lions was 74-90. Not a good record. Plus 0-3 in the playoffs. If you loved Matt Stafford at the time, it was hard to have an argument about him. He was one of these players that you just had to watch to know his value, to know that he's elite. Because every Sunday, even though the Lions will lose, Matthew Stafford always had a play that will remind you that he's one of the top NFL quarterbacks in the league year in and year out. I want to show you guys one of the plays that I'm talking about. There was an overtime win against the Vikings, and the play of the game was this throw from Stafford to Calvin Johnson. As you guys can see, the running back gets destroyed by the blitzer, and he just backs up and unleashes a missile. He doesn't get to step into the throw. It's from his own 35-yard line, and the ball goes all the way to the opponent's 20-yard line. This ball's perfectly thrown. And of course, Calvin makes a great catch. This led to the game-winning field goal. During all these years, they had one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they never gave him support to win. The drafting wasn't up to par, and they signed guys who didn't pan out. Even in the years that they made the playoffs, they were a flawed team. It's not surprising that they were one and done. Stafford would just cover up a lot of their issues that they really had. His whole career in Detroit, they had one of the worst running games in the whole league. He played 165 games with Detroit, and only 11 times did he have a running back rush for over 100 yards. That's pretty much one time a year for his 12-year career in Detroit. The rushing attack was consistently towards the bottom of the league. You had 12 years to fix a problem, and you couldn't do it. What does that say about your franchise? And it sucks that they learned this lesson after Matthew Stafford, because now the Lions have one of the best run games in the NFL. It's hard each week to have the whole game ride on the arm of your quarterback, especially when you can't really protect him. The years of losing took a toll on Matthew Stafford. And after the 2020 season, it was obvious. The Detroit roster was at rock bottom. And it was obvious for the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford to part ways. And when teams found out that he was on the market, he was a hot commodity. The Rams, Panthers, 49ers, they all wanted him. And as you guys know, the Rams got the deal done. And it was a pretty hefty price. Jared Goff and 2 first-round picks, to be exact. Getting traded from Detroit to Los Angeles was a complete culture change for Matthew Stafford. Just think about the city themselves. Detroit, blue collar, hardworking. LA, on the other hand, the glitz, the glamour, Hollywood celebrities. Completely different ballgame. But from a football perspective, it was joining a true contender. Somebody who knew how to build a team. They had weapons on offense. They had a true offensive mastermind for a head coach. And they also had a great defense. And the Lions, on the other hand, they took a guy in Jared Goff who simply was at rock bottom. To quote Sean McVay, here's the f***ing deal, okay? We can sit here and exist and be okay with winning 9 to 11 games and losing the f***ing divisional round and feel like, oh, everything's okay, McVay says to his boss. Or we can let our motherfucking nuts hang and go trade for a quarterback who gives ourselves a chance of winning a world championship. You ready to do this or what? Not a good look for my boy Jared Goff. But I think this quote by Sean McVay says so much more on how he felt about Matthew Stafford. He knew what Matthew Stafford was capable of, and Stafford proved him right from the jump. The Rams went 12-5 in the first season with Matthew Stafford. Stafford had a great year statistically, and again helped author one of the greatest wide receiver seasons in history by Cooper Kupp. They would play the Arizona Cardinals in the wild card round and proceed to put belt to ass. They beat them on all fronts. As much as they dominated the Arizona Cardinals, the next 3 games did not go like that. And this would be the most important 3-game stretch of Matthew Stafford's career. And every single one of these games came down to the very end. And who made a play in every single one of them? Matthew Stafford. And I want to highlight 2 plays specifically. The first one is in the divisional round, on the road, against the Super Bowl defending champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, this guy right here. Now, this play starts after Stafford just took a sack, and the Rams just spent their last timeout. Backs are against the wall. And on this play, Matthew Stafford has to deliver. The Bucs send an all-out blitz with 2 guys in his face, and Stafford unleashes a laser beam to Cooper Kupp. He doesn't step into the throw, and he just flicks it 45 yards down the field perfectly into Cooper Kupp's hands. The Rams kick a field goal, and they win the game, while Tom Brady helplessly watched from the sidelines. This was Stafford's first clutch moment in the playoffs, and he helped change the narrative on his ability to win big games. And there's no bigger game than the Super Bowl. And on this play, the Rams find themselves down in the 4th quarter to the Bengals. And on this 2nd and 7, Stafford again displays his greatness. He hits a 20-yard throw to Cooper Kupp. It's not just the throw, it's his eyes. Just look at the way he manipulates his defender with his eyes, and he throws Cooper Kupp open. This is not going to be a completion unless he gets Von Bell to bite down on that underneath route. Bro, if this is Patrick Mahomes or even Josh Allen, this play gets talked about until all of us are blue in the face. But for some reason, since it's Matthew Stafford, it never gets the hype that the play rightfully deserves. And he did it in the Super Bowl. And the thing is, he's been making these plays his whole career. But the big difference was this time around is he's doing it on some of the biggest stages. The Rams will score a touchdown and put them up 22-20. The Rams would eventually win the Super Bowl with Aaron Donald finishing the job. And Stafford, after 12 rough seasons in Detroit, will get to taste glory. As of today, Stafford is an active leader in game-winning drives and is 5th all-time in that category. He's ahead of Hall of Famers like John Elway, Brett Favre, Russell Wilson, and many other notable quarterbacks. And get this, 45% of Matthew Stafford's career wins came through game-winning drives. That's almost half of his wins. The next closest guy is Matt Ryan with 37%. But for some reason, Matthew Stafford doesn't get recognized for this. It just flies under the radar. It doesn't matter that he had clutch moments or the fact that he's broken many milestones for passing, like fastest guy to 20,000 passing yards, fastest guy to 40,000 passing yards. And to add on top of that, he's authored 2 of the greatest receiving years of all time. Calvin Johnson doesn't almost go for 2,000 yards. Cooper Kupp doesn't win Offensive Player of the Year or Super Bowl MVP without Matthew Stafford. Stafford wasn't blessed with a great coach like Sean McVay until late in his career. Unfortunately, the greatness of Stafford was wasted for too many years in Detroit. He reached the mountaintop his first year in LA, and he's continued to be a great quarterback, leading the Rams to the playoffs in the last 2 years. As the masses unappreciate Matthew Stafford, we don't take him for granted, and you shouldn't either. What do you guys think of Matthew Stafford? Let us know in the comment section down below. As always, make sure to hit a like on this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a bunch. We do MJC original videos just like this one, film breakdowns, and podcasts. And with draft season right around the corner, we're going to have some awesome content dropping soon. Till next time, we out. Peace.